Search and rescue operations continue this morning after a U.S. military Osprey aircraft crashed into the ocean near the Japanese island of Yakushima. Yesterday, at least one crew member was killed, and the search to find the remaining 7 crew members is ongoing. The U.S. Air Force says the cause of the incident is currently unknown, but witnesses say the aircraft's left engine appeared to be on fire as it approached an airport for an emergency landing. Joining me now from Tokyo is CBS News senior foreign correspondent Elizabeth Palmer. Elizabeth, it's always good to see you. Let's start with some of the basics. I mean, what has Japan said about the crash so far?
The Minister of Defense spoke up today. He said that Japan's asked the U.S. to stop flying Ospreys here until the aircraft's safety has been, as he put it, confirmed. But the fact is that the U.S. military has 30 Ospreys in service in Japan, shows it already thinks the plane is safe. The thing is, the Japanese politicians need to reassure a very nervous public. Yesterday's crash took place close to shore on the island, as did another crash in Japan back in 2016. And people here, quite frankly, are scared that one day one of those Ospreys is going to come tumbling out of the sky onto their heads and kill civilians.
You know, the U.S. has a significant military presence in Japan. I'm curious about the relationship between, the country and the U.S. military. Is this particularly sensitive?
The U.S. has 50,000 military personnel in Japan, not counting families and clerical staff and so on. That is a lot. And while the U.S.-Japan defense alliance is rock solid, there have been tensions around the bases for many years, especially the largest one in Okinawa. Now, yesterday's crash won't have helped, in part because while Japan's Coast Guard scrambled ships and helicopters as soon as the local fishermen had raised the alarm that there had been an accident, the U.S. military is going to take over the recovery and the investigation, and then, for the most part, exclude the Japanese. So it will be another reminder that when it comes to incidents involving American forces, Japan often ends up as a bystander on its own soil, and people don't like that.
I can imagine. Meantime, Japan's own military, they have a few of these Ospreys as well. What's happening with them?
Japan is the only country in the world outside the U.S. to use these Osprey planes. It's got 11 now and a few more on order. Today, the defense minister said that Japan was going to ground that fleet, but temporarily. And that's happened before. Last time there was a fatal crash, they grounded those Ospreys until the problem had been identified and safety reviews were carried out on each one. But the fact is that the Osprey is a very useful aircraft for, among other things, transporting troops, and both the militaries want to keep using them in this very strategic part of the world. Now, Japanese reporters down on Okinawa were watching the base very closely today, and they said they saw multiple U.S. Ospreys taking off from the base in Okinawa. So there is no sign the U.S. is acting on Japan's request for a pause.
Very interesting. Elizabeth Palmer, thank you.